friend's driveway, and I didn't know there was like a metal protector so that you don't just run off the sidewalk or off the road into the forest. I freaking backed right into that shit. Got a little dent on my car, bro. I was salty about that one. And my beard looking uneven, bro. I done slept on it last night.
Yeah. With my dude Trace, we with the Oz. We in Emerald City, out in the boondocks. I don't know where I'm at. This is Batavia, Ohio, I guess.
Stonelick.
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 But we in this dope little studio, man.
Little Stonelick action.
You feel me? So it's lit, man. We about to talk. This is how we feel. It's only right with my brother Chase, man. We did it last year with Cincinnati. And it's coming full circle. You feel me? It's coming full circle. Man.
You gotta get
Mandalorian comes
we're
out
rolling.
October 30th.
We're rolling, boys and girls. We're rolling.
We're rolling?
We're rolling.
All right, we'll start here in a second. So we can't, it's not gonna.
We're rolling. We're straight rolling. That was smooth. Let's keep going. Let's keep rolling with it, guys.
All right, so for those of you that don't know, we're here with Khari, who's a Cincinnati rapper. He's got a couple projects under his belt, and we've worked on a lot of stuff for his last album, and then we did an interview for him, and then continued on just doing a lot of stuff, getting pictures, even got to come out and take some photos at his baby shower, which was a good time. Yeah. So why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us what's going on?
Yeah, man, it's Khari, like Trey said, from Cincinnati. A lot going on, but I'm trying to stay grounded through it all, man. I'm a new father, so that's exciting. Project out. Just a lot of cool stuff happening, though, man, that I'm sure we'll get into. But
So that's definitely exciting, being a new father
Yeah.
in the game. How do you think that has influenced you for your music?
Yeah, it just made me put things in perspective, man. I really just found another switch. I always was like a super self-motivated person, good work ethic and all that, but now it's like a whole nother switch that it hit. Is different. I'm more about, I'm looking at it more business-like too, you know what I mean? Everything is business, and I want to reciprocate that energy to the people that I work with too, so that's how it's feeling right now.
So the new project, it just came out, about 2 months ago?
Yeah, 2 months, wow, yeah. End of July, just about.
The times are weird,
Yeah.
and it feels just distorted during quarantine
Word,
and this
word.
COVID situation.
It's like 3 years in one.
So the name of it is This Is How We Feel, Act 1, Trapped.
Yeah.
Can you just start off talking about what does the name mean, or why is that what it's named?
It's a lot. I kind of started working on this project when I was like finishing up Cincinnati, so like I was kind of simultaneously working on this, and it developed over the past year and a half. But I really just wanted to touch on something that was like in my music. I talk about a lot of black plight, my observations of growing up, around drugs, violence, and things like that. But with this one, I wanted to touch on a different layer, and it has a mental aspect to it. You know what I mean? I wanted to put a mental health aspect into it and an emotional aspect into it. So that's why I called it This Is How We Feel, because it's the feelings of black people in America, and just how we processing those feelings, how we going through it, and you know what I mean, and just the mental aspect of it, like I said before, of how it is to be black in America.
So what comes first with making this project? Like, what is there an idea for a song, or is there an idea for an entire project? I know there's some themes that we're going to get into, including the idea of the mask, which we're about to talk about here in a second. Because, as you can tell by Khari's shirt, and then the album cover, and then the music video directed by Kevin Garner, Trapped music that came out, all revolve around the idea of the mask. But before we get into the mask, what's the kind of idea creation for the mixtape?
I would say with this one especially, self-reflection went into this a lot. It started out with a lot of self-reflection. I was just at a point where I was feeling a certain type of way, just about everything, and I didn't know how to really explain how I felt about certain things, why I felt like this. I never asked myself those questions until, you know, sometime last year when I finished up Cincinnati and I really started getting on the music scene and started interacting with different people. Even started like getting, you know, DMs from people that said they liked my music and how this made them felt, you know what I mean? So I started to see like it was bigger than music, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of self-reflection that went into like before even penning this project. Like I knew I needed to go deeper. I knew I needed to touch on something that was, you know, honest, that was real. And so I just started asking myself questions, you know what I mean? Just started asking myself deep, dark questions that, you know, that we try to avoid as humans, you know what I mean? And why do I feel this way? Why do I act this way? Why do I, you know what I mean? Why do I do certain things?
Yeah, because throughout the album, you know, you talk about how it is tough to explain yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, how the one line goes, how you explain a feeling.
Exactly.
And how can you come across. And sometimes, like you say, your true feelings and emotions are masked, which brings us back to the mask.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about when that idea came to you
Yeah.
and when you decided to make it the central theme of the album?
Word. So early on in like the writing process, I knew I wanted to have like this theme with the mask. But at first it was brown paper bags, and I was just gonna write like some X's on it. But I talked with me and Kevin, because we were working on a script for everything, like just laying everything out, a script for like music videos and even a feature film for all of this. And he brought up the idea of like a ski mask. And then after that, I was like, yeah, that was perfect, you know? So we just ran with that. And I just started seeing like everything that I was penning was just related to, you know, masking my feelings. And it morphed into this alternate reality that I created within the album, that basically as black people in America, we're forced to, you know, suppress our feelings, conceal them. You know what I mean? We don't really process them, whether it's through different avenues, whether it's through systemic racism, whether it's through police brutality, seeing a bunch of trauma, whether it's through, like I said, drugs, violence. We mask that pain and we don't really deal with it, you know what I mean? So it's a whole lot of things that the mask represents that if people want to like dive into it, like, you know, they'll be able to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that goes into it. I mean, also just seeing it as how people stick to such stereotypes and are so close-minded about what an individual can do and be depending on their race.
Exactly.
You know? Especially because how I kind of see it is the mask also depicts that as how black people can automatically be victified and put as, you know, the bad person.
Exactly,
you know?
right.
But we all know that doesn't dictate your character and how you treat people and who you truly are.
Word.
So one word that is used, not used, but really means a lot throughout your music, especially this project, is the word duality. Can you really speak on what that means for you?
Man, duality is big, bro. Because I feel like I look at life as a contradiction, a paradox, you know what I mean? So it's always two sides to a story, you know what I mean? Everything has a good, everything has a bad, but for me, it's like that duality is the balance, you know what I mean? Duality is the balance. So even with this project, you know, I try to show like the real side of everything, but I also try to touch on, you know, another perspective, you know what I mean? Even speak from someone else's perspective, even talk from someone else's point of view, because that's what makes this world, you know, balance out the duality. So yeah, man, that's big. That's big.
So with your past album, Cincinnati, there's a song on there called The Art of Ignorance.
Yeah, word.
And the way I see it is that in the first album, you told us about the art of ignorance. And in this album, you show how it's used. So can you tell us what the art of ignorance is?
Yeah. Well, when I was writing that, it was really came from a point where it was like, yeah, the stereotype of black people is that we're ignorant. We do this, we do that. You know what I mean? But so with that song, I wanted to show, yeah, ignorance is always equated to like this negative thing, when ignorance is literally just you lack knowledge of something. We all ignorant to something, you know what I mean? So that's where that stemmed from, and just playing off of it's a art to it. It's an art to being ignorant, you know what I mean? Like we can paint this picture of this image of ourselves. The society can paint a picture of us, you know, paint an image of us and try to portray this type of image to us. But it always comes down to, you know, lack of knowledge, and like you just don't know. Like we all ignorant to something. So that's what I wanted to show with that one.
Because I would say the song that really takes the art of ignorance to the next step is trapped music. Because in that you say trapped inside a rap life.
Yeah.
And so the trap here, it's just a great play on words with the trapped music, because you first have the actual trap music, you know,
Right.
a trap, more hood type beat,
Exactly.
which you often use to kind of almost conceal a deeper message.
Absolutely.
You know, and then going on, you have, you know, the trap, you know, that a lot of people are stuck in a trap, whether it be systemic racism or where they live or just the circumstances that they're born into.
Right.
So in the song, you know, you start off talking about, you know, typical things that you might find in your average rapper's lyrics, you know, about money, cars, hoes, and clothes, and hitting up the liquor store
Right.
and smoking, you
Right.
know. So what are you trying to get across when you come at it from that perspective?
Yeah, I was just trying to, you know, be honest about it, because that song is as much a personal story as it is anyone can relate to it, because touching back on that duality again, it's like the duality of rapping and selling drugs, you know, being in a trap. Like it's a similar path, you know what I mean? We all racing towards something, and we all want to get rich off rap. We all want to get rich off being a drug dealer, just to buy, you know what I mean, money, just to have money, just to have cars, just to have clothes, you know what I mean, things like that. So I wanted to touch on that duality aspect, and also tell my personal story. Like, you know, I grew up around a lot of drug dealers, and as I was writing, I was seeing this stuff growing up. You know, growing up as a young rapper, I was seeing this stuff. Like, I'm seeing my uncles go to jail. I'm seeing my uncles, you know, serve people on the corner and shit like that. So it was like just me trying to tell that story while also being like telling my story within it. Like, you know, I'm how am I any different? I can't say that I'm any better just because I'm making music, because I still want money. I still want nice cars. I want nice clothes. You know what I mean? So we all trapped in this cycle. It's all a cycle. It's all a loop, which is a big theme of the whole project in itself. So,
so obviously through your music, it's as the very central idea is that of storytelling.
yeah.
What inspired you to get so involved with storytelling? Is it that you grew up reading a lot or something, or partaking in other kind of creative activity, or how did you find that in your life?
I would say it's a mixture of a lot of things, you know, mixture of the music that I grew up listening to, the music that I love listening to, the music that I was introduced. I read a lot as a kid. I always loved, you know, like English class. I always loved writing narrative stories and things like that. So I would say it's a mixture of just the environment I was brought up in. I was brought up in a household where, like, you know, my pops, he played everything like classic that was, you know, back then in the 90s, going into the early 2000s, like play Nas, Pac, Biggie, you know all the greats. I don't gotta list them all, but all the greats that told stories, and that's one thing that I was always instilled in, is like great storytelling. And as I got older, I realized that that's the best way people learn. whether you like, if you're trying to like shove something down somebody's throat, like preaching to them, like do this, and trying to teach people life lessons, you can't teach people life lessons like that. People learn through stories, through allegory and things like that. So as I got older, I started being conscious of that. But, as a kid, I always, loved stories, big Star Wars head. That's one of the biggest stories, of all time. So, yeah.
So I was gonna maybe wait until later to bring up that, but since you just mentioned, stories and allegories, so there at the very end of the album, there's a pretty long story you tell about a woman that's struggling with mental illness.
Yeah.
And throughout your music, it's very storytelling based, but you often don't stick around too long on a story. What stuck out to you about this particular story that made you want to incorporate it so much into the song?
The biggest thing was that it was personal. You know what I mean? I know the girl personally that I was talking about, and I thought it would, it was tough. It was tough to write. It was a tough verse to write. Even tougher to, have the courage to release it, because what if, how would she feel about that if she knew that I was talking about her? And but I felt I was sensitive with my lyrics. I was also, aware of, what I was trying to say and what the message I was trying to convey to her. Like, you're good. Just because they try to put these labels on you, you're not crazy. You good. Like, and it's always love whenever you decide to, reach back out. Whenever you decide to, things like that. So, yeah, I wanted to give that story the justice that it deserved, because the woman that I know she is, and who I grew up with as being a friend, with her in high school. So, yeah.
Is it tough to find the strength to talk about subjects that maybe other artists wouldn't talk about?
Nah, not for me, because I'm in this bubble kind of like, what I know needs to be said, and also making it enjoyable listen, making it fun, thought-provoking at the same time. But so it's no pressure really. It's just I'm always trying to find a new way to tell it, a different way to convey it. How can I make this, not boring? How can I make it enjoyable for the listener? That's the only thing I kind of, battle with sometimes and try to figure out through the writing process and the recording process.
Because I think there's a lot of themes that, especially in hip hop, aren't talked about a lot, because on this album, you have quite a bit, you have black masculinity and vulnerability, and talks of gentrification and talks of women in society, and almost kind of an anti-misogynistic view on it, when a lot of hip hop is very misogynistic based, and that brings me to, a couple songs we could talk about. Next I was going to talk about When I'm Gone, which is kind of, more of a love, slower song. And that's a common theme on your projects, is on each album there's at least one that's kind of similar. You have Aphrodite, and then you have Leia's theme, which if you haven't checked out, you really should, because that talks about, if you want to talk about Leia's theme and that a little bit, I'd love to hear about it.
Leia's theme, wow. I wrote that song at least 3 years ago. So those lyrics is like, it's crazy how like the lyrics still, was relevant when I was ready to release it. But that song just really talked about the just was being blunt about wanting to have sex with a woman, but also like the damage that can do to a woman, and trying to be respectful in that manner of, I do want sex, like, but at the same time trying to show like a deeper side of it, like another aspect of it. So that's why I called it Think Outside the Box, because I wanted to show that, I wanted to show it from a woman's perspective, like, this is how you need to, it ain't all about this. You need to think outside of sex sometimes. Like, so I was trying to formulate it in in an aspect to where like the woman was giving the man some game, you know, schooling him a little bit. So yeah, that's one of my favorite records I've done.
Yeah, I would say it's a personal favorite of mine as well.
Fire.
So, I mean, while we're still on that subject, can you talk about When I'm Gone a little bit? And it has one of the few features on the album. So what made you bring on a feature? And then just talk about the structure of the song a little bit.
Yeah, well, I tried to sing the hook, but I couldn't do it. It was
If we're being honest.
It wasn't terrible, but it was like, I know my guy Chalk T can really bring it to life. And shout out to Chalk T, man. If y'all ain't hip to Chalk T, get hip to him. He got some new music coming. He's dope. Dope R&B singer, man. That's my brother. But so yeah, I reached out to him. I was like, yeah, man, can you sing this hook for me? He was like, yeah. He sent it back to me the next day. And I was like, yeah, this is the one. Like, you know, people gonna vibe with this one. And with writing a song, I really wanted to, again, touch on the trapped aspect of the whole theme of the album. And with that one, I was trapped in my feelings for a girl. Like, she don't know throughout that song, if you listen to it, she doesn't know that I have feelings for her. You know what I mean? So this is like early stages.
You're trying to conceal it.
Yeah,
you say,
exactly.
And you say
Exactly.
if maybe this letter, if it even gets to you.
If it even gets to you.
Because it's
right.
tough for you to get your feelings across.
Exactly.
And that relates back to the mask as well.
Exactly.
And then, going on with the, a lot of things. Because, a big word I could associate this album with is vulnerability.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Trying to, because often with hip hop or even just in the black community is just concealing who you are and trying to portray a bigger character.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
You want to be the big man on the block
Exactly.
and never want to show any type of weakness or anything of that sort. And
exactly,
so
bro.
This is, if people aren't really listening, a very strong message into a lot of things, and I think they need to pay more attention to it.
Word, bro. Word, for sure, man.
So the next song, there's a couple of songs that have some strong themes. Is that what you think about first? Is the theme of a song?
It varies, bro. Like I'm random as hell. Like, like I think of a hook and like, oh, how can I work this in? Or I think of a theme first. Like I really want to touch on this topic. And I think sometimes it can go either way. Like sometimes that makes for the better song when I think of the theme first. Sometimes if I just play off a couple lines that I thought of, like, yeah, I can really do something with this, but it varies for real.
Because there's a couple songs on here that are very theme centric.
Yeah.
You have If a Tree Falls.
Yeah.
And then you have Pseudo Bull Bar.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with those ideas, and why did you choose to include them?
Yeah, with If a Tree Falls, that was a situation where I had, like, it was a poem at first. It was just random thoughts. I didn't have a beat for it. Didn't even know if I was going to use it at any point, because I was really just trying to, pen some, I do a lot of free writing when I have writer's block, and sometimes something comes out of it, sometimes it don't. In this situation, it did. But when I linked up with Sal Dolly, shout out to Sal Dolly, he produced majority of the album with trap music, Pseudo Ball Bar, work with High Tech and all that. But when I heard the beat from him, I was like, I just got into this vibe, and I instantly pulled out my phone and started rapping those lyrics, and it magically went. It was like divine, bro. It was like, I'm like, yeah, this has to be. And I was like, this is the intro. I knew it at that point, like, this is the intro for the project. And so I just went in on that and then got the hook going, did a little melody with the hook, and it just all turned out good, man. That track is probably my favorite, my personal favorite that I did on the album. So
which one?
If a Tree Falls, yeah, If a Tree Falls.
Yeah, that is a very strong message there. And then with Pseudo Bull Bar, what is that for people that may have not heard of it?
So Pseudo Bull Bar is a condition where you laugh, like you have uncontrollable laughter at the wrong times, and like even if you're like sad, you will just start laughing. I think they said like the Joker movie was based off the condition, and so yeah.
I also believe in the hit film Parasite. That's what
yeah.
the character has, and
Ooh.
you know, because there's tragic events going on
Yeah.
throughout, and he keeps laughing. You know, because
Yeah.
that's
I
also
didn't even peep that.
yeah,
movie,
it's also
that
kind
movie's
of played
crazy
into
too.
there.
Yeah.
Shout out to them and what they're
Yeah.
doing with those films.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, also in Pseudo Bar,
Yeah.
there's a couple basketball references.
Right.
We know you used to play
Mhm.
and you enjoy basketball.
Yeah.
What makes you want to come up with such creative basketball bars?
Bro, I think basketball bars are just dope bro. Like, I have so many like sports bars, no pun intended, but just in the vault, like, oh, I can't wait to use this. But
Hey, that'd be a great theme for in the future.
Word, right,
Make
sports
a
bar.
show, Khari's Sports Bar.
that's fire.
But
That's
it's
fire.
just sports bars.
Right,
Yeah.
giving out shots and whatnot. Like, yeah, that's lit. That's lit. But yeah, bro, like I love making those type of metaphors and
You
similes.
know, one of
bro.
my favorite ones is on that song.
Yeah.
It's the D Wade reference.
Yeah, D
I
Wade
thought
inside the
that
paint,
one
yeah.
just plays in a lot of ways. You know.
Yeah. Double entendre.
Because I don't know how long do you spend on a bar? Because I mean, you have some pretty intricate word plays and metaphors. Like,
Yeah.
how long are you sometimes thinking about trying to make this sound as good as it can? And finding it's like a puzzle, you know.
Yeah, it varies, bro. Like, it might come to me just instantly, like out of nowhere. Sometimes I spend about I don't know, like I said, it varies, bro. It take me days sometimes, like to come up. But with bars, with metaphors, and like saying slick things, I got to a point to where it's like I can just kind of like run them off like easily. But so I try to like spend more time on my concepts now. But I'll just be driving and think of something and have to like hurry up and write it on my phone before I forget it, because like I'm like, oh yeah, that's fire. That's
or even just you know, because you love the idea of duality and then paradox, you know,
Yeah.
and then I mean, because there's a lot of things, you know, that probably take time to think about. I mean, towards the end of the album, there's a couple just paradoxes.
Yeah.
You list off, you know, a mother crying while watching her baby sleep, a depressed artist that goes and performs but is still just upset with where
Right.
he's at in life.
Right.
You know, a homeless man that is very happy and it's joy. He's smiling.
Exactly.
And then, you know, there's a hook throughout of smiling through the pain.
Exactly.
So what made you want to use those examples and the idea of smiling through the pain,
Yeah.
especially in a you know, difficult time for a lot of people throughout the world and America?
Yeah, word, bro. It was like, again, it was that duality, like you said, and like also the personal experience aspect. You know, these are interactions that I had. Like, I've been to shows and I seen artists hop on the stage and like, you know, give it they all, and then hop on Twitter and just like and be like super just still, you know, depressed, like, you know what I mean, venting to the world about how they ain't where they need to be, or like even just talking with myself, like, you know what I mean, like, man, I'm doing all this work, I'm putting in all this work, I'm at these shows, I'm doing these, you know, I'm doing certain things, I'm putting myself in good positions, but I still feel like I'm nowhere near where I need to be. And it's just showing that, you know, even through, like, a person could be going through the best, you never know, like, you never know what people going through behind closed doors. Even with a homeless man, we look at a homeless man like, you know, like he has his life can't be good. You know what I mean? He doesn't have money. He doesn't have a means. You know what I mean? But for all we know, he could be happy. And we know about we worked on a Rich Man Poor Man on my Rich Man, Poor Man
classic song right there.
Yeah.
First time I ever got to meet Khari working on a Rich Man Poor Man. So
word.
That's a throwback right there.
Yeah. So we touched on that and like, so that line kind of, you know, summarizes that song. So yeah, man.
So one song I could really talk a lot about that I'm very interested in is Roots. And I don't know if it was some kind of live stream you had or something, but you might have said that it would just quickly came together.
Oh yeah, bro. I wrote it in like 5 minutes. And it was like, shout out to ZG. He produced Young and Black on Cincinnati. He produced When I'm Gone as well. But he sent me the beat. I had the beat for a while. He sent me like a pack of beats, and I just went back into that folder and played that beat. I'm like, how did I not realize this beat was this hard?
Because it's a banger.
It's a banger.
I played it earlier, and
Yeah.
TP was like, "This is a banger right here." So
Yeah, shout out.
but
Well,
there's-
didn't I say to run it back right? Was that
yeah,
the one?
he said restart this. He said restart this. It's a banger.
Fire, bro.
He said turn it up too.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, dog. Cause like,
No, I think I technically told Alexa to turn it up.
fire, drop the bomb on it then.
Dropped a bomb on it. So the way I see Roots is I almost see it as a Spike Lee movie put into a song.
Man,
What are your thoughts on that?
bro? That's crazy you said that. Cause now I can't wait for you to see the video. Cause yeah, the video got that element to it. We definitely took some notes from Spike on that. But yeah, it was like when I heard it, I'm like, I know I need to go crazy on this beat, but how can I, like you said, how can I touch on something else with it? But the hook came to me first. I wrote the hook real fast. I'm like, oh yeah, money make me feel some way. Like I just start singing that hook, and then after I realized like, okay, this is gonna be about money. I didn't know I was gonna call it Roots at that moment. It's like, it's gonna be about money, so let's just go in about money. And I'm a slave to how am I a slave to money? And I just started, just running off these bars, and I'm like, man, like, and I looked up, it was like 5, 6, 7 minutes that passed. I'm like, damn. Like, it was like really like just an out of body experience. With
Yeah,
that
it's
track,
kind of
bro.
like, so there's that song Modern Slavery on
Yeah.
Huncho Jack Huncho with
Yeah.
Quavo and Travis
Yeah.
Scott. And that's just like the bare bones. It's kind of like what they thought they wanted to make.
Right,
But
right.
Roots is like that to infinity, bro. Like I'm telling you, even though you may have made it quickly, there's some great themes on there that,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, remind me of a Spike Lee movie, especially Do the Right Thing,
Yeah.
because there is that one line about chasing money in the Nike Airs,
Yeah.
but still having dreams and nightmares,
Yeah, right, right.
And that's a big theme in Do the Right Thing
Right.
is because it also addresses, capitalism, and then the root of, a lot of wealth in America
Right.
is built on slavery
Right.
back in the day.
Right, and that's
And
the
then
double entendre about it.
double entendre, and then the connection with the roots as well. Also talking about one of the most famous and iconic TV shows and film projects of all time
Right.
that talks really about the roots of slavery, and it's just very interesting about because modern day slavery and capitalism, and I mean there's a lot discussed in there. So where did you come up with all this so quickly?
Man, bro, I can't even tell you, bro. Like that moment was just a, like I said, an out of body experience. And I always said, like I mentioned it before in my lyrics, like how I'm still how all of us are still slaves to something. You know what I mean? We all still relying on something. We're longing for something. And with Roots, it was just the money aspect. And so I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be
and consumer culture too.
Yeah,
You talk
yeah.
about the line with "Drip me down in some Louis and some Gucci,
Right.
got me feeling like a new me."
Right, exactly.
And that also going back to the whole idea of the mask and this idea that rappers are supposed to portray a certain image.
Exactly.
Often depicting, wearing these designer brands, and you
Exactly.
take all of these concepts and just kind of flip them on their head of typical stereotypes.
Right, bro. Yeah.
So then going on, we have the song The Riddle. And are people solving the riddle? Or are people picking up on the riddle?
Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot. I mean, I think everyone pretty much picked up on it by the end of the song. Like, you get the gist of what's going on. I had a few people reach out to me and was like, yo, like, that's my favorite track. And I'm like, dang, I ain't even, you know what I mean? I knew the track was solid. I knew it was good enough to be on a project, but A lot of people been really
Yeah,
liking
shout out
that
to my
joint.
quick
Yeah.
shout out to my roommate Marty. He says that's his favorite song on the project. So,
Fire. Yeah.
other than trapped music, trapped music is just a song you can just keep bumping.
Yeah,
Like
right.
it's a banger for sure.
Yeah.
So one kind of relatable topic. Well, we'll get into that later. So, but yeah, the riddle is a very strong idea to talk about right now. Especially, we were just having these riots the last couple months in Cincinnati, especially taking place in Over the Rhine, which we all know is a hotbed of gentrification
Man.
over the last 5 to 10 years, kicking out business owners and people in their communities, tearing down the basketball courts, building dog parks,
Yep.
and even going back in to more of the history of Cincinnati in the building of I-75 and the breaking up of tens of thousands of black members of Cincinnati.
Yep.
Why is the riddle such an important topic to be discussing?
It puts the lens, it shines the light on exactly what's going on. Gentrification it's some shady, it's like a covert, it's really some super like shady covert scheme, bro. Like, and it's really like sket, bro. Like, you really uprooting people from where they live. You first of all, it's a 10, 20-year plan. If we got to say that. It's a 10, 20-year plan. You're driving the property value down, bringing in disenfranchised people, letting them dirty it up, do all this to it so you can buy it back at a cheap price. You know what I mean? It all goes back to money and power and greed. But I just wanted to shine light on it. And I feel like I wanted to do it like that because it was a discovery. You know what I mean? When you listen to it, you're discovering something. Like, as you listen to it, you don't know exactly what I'm talking about yet until you get to like, the last leg of it. But that discovery aspect is like, because a person that might agree with gentrification, they can listen to the song, like, be into it, like, yeah, this is dope. Like, what is he talking about? Is he talking about this? And then you be like, oh, it's gentrification.
Yeah, it's a real issue in our
So,
lives right now. Even a couple weeks ago, I was driving downtown a little bit and saw the building of the FC Cincinnati Stadium.
That inspired this track so much.
That is a travesty, honestly.
Man, it's crazy. And it's right there by Taft High School. No students had to deal with construction during the school year. They're right by their football field, and you just coming in and bringing in this, you know what I mean, like this new soccer team that mostly that white people are going to support, so you have to put money into it.
And we already know, like, on the outskirts of Cincinnati, there is space, and there's also money.
Yeah.
You go out towards Amberley Village, even out towards Pleasant Ridge, even out into past Hyde Park and stuff.
Man.
There's space, but the white man doesn't want to do that construction and stuff in his backyard. He's like, oh, we can do it over here. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But when it does matter for lots of people.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. And it's been happening. It's been happening for the past 20 years in Cincinnati. We just seeing it just slowly change. And they're making their way up, man. They're making their way up from downtown, up through Clifton, up through Northside, where I grew up at. And so, yeah, bro, it's wild.
Yeah, it's sad to hear.
I don't know what we can do about it, but talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's bringing some. One thing I was going to talk about is, would you consider your music a form of social activism? And is that a thing you're cognizant of when you're making the music?
I'm aware that my music has some, social, approach to it, but I wouldn't consider. I'm not gonna say that, but I wouldn't say that I go into my music thinking like, okay, how can this be some, like social activism? I'm just trying to. All these stories are like personal stories that I came in contact with, whether it's through my experience or through someone close to me experience, or just talking to someone and gravitating towards their story. So I don't really go into it with the thought of being a social activist, I guess you could say. But I do understand the responsibility that I have with my music, with my voice, and people are, free to interpret it however they want to interpret it, and call it whatever they want to call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's also some strong messages. And that brings us to the final song, "Can't Explain."
Yeah.
And we already talked about the story with the woman suffering from mental health issues, and kind of just putting out a message that it's okay to talk about these things,
Word.
and that it's okay to address it. But then further on, you have a couple bars that are talking about the difference but similarities in the struggles of black men and women. And as we talked about earlier, a lot of hip hop can be found as misogynistic. Why was that a conscious decision to go purposely against the grain and talk about that?
Yeah, with that one, I really just was observing and just looking at America and how, we're facing, as black people, we're facing a whole bunch of stuff. We're facing, like we said, racism, police brutality, gentrification, all kind of stuff. But within that, we are battling each other within our, it's colorism within our race. It's sexism within our race. It's misogyny within our race, And it's this battle between the black man and black woman that it's been going on for years. And I wanted to touch on that. Like, we're both struggling. We're both dealing with some type of plight. It's different, but that don't mean we have to compare the two, like who has the worst struggle, like, you know what I mean? But I will always say, I have to say this, the black woman is the most disrespected. We know this, the most disrespected person in America. You know what I mean? They're black. On top of being a woman, the intersection there is just, it's crazy in America. But within that, I also want to show, like, we have to like have some type of unity, because if we're not unified, then that just gives them more fuel to their agenda, to their fire, and it just keeps us, it keeps us where we are. And so I wanted to touch on that with black man being targeted, the light bulb shining on us. Black women is just disregarded, not even thought about, you know what I mean, and just abused and stepped on. So, yeah, that's where that came from.
So, I mean, a couple months before the release of this project, there was a moment with J. Cole on the song "Snow on the Bluff."
Yeah.
And I think he was trying to address the same type of issue. I don't think it went very well.
Yeah.
Was maybe that on the back of your mind at all, or what?
No, not at all, because I had those lyrics already before that song released. But I do agree that he was trying to touch on something similar to what I was saying, because, like I said, it's a unity that needs to be looked into between black men and black women. And I don't think his intentions were bad whatsoever. I think the song was dope. Like you said, it probably just didn't go over well, but I don't think he should have been dragged through the dirt the way he was, But that's people's opinion, you know what I mean? We can't really go based off that, but I really think it was he was trying to do something honest there, you know what I mean? And once again, it's that battle within our race that we have to, see his perspective, see her perspective, you know what I mean? So it's just that battle that we're dealing with.
And then, we were just talking about, the role and importance of black women.
Yeah.
Can you talk about a little bit? I know your partner, Erin, has been doing some great things with her book drive and stuff.
Yeah.
Could you tell us some about that?
Yeah, so she did, over the summer, she started a book drive for black students and getting black literature into schools, public schools mostly, but even like organizations like rec centers, youth organizations. She raised a bunch of money, raised a bunch of books, and what she did was amazing. Like to see like her not even think it was gonna be this big. Like, she raised over about, I want to say like $1,500 and got over 1,000 books out to black students. You know what I mean? So it was crazy just to see, like, and I was like super, super proud just seeing how she was moving with it and how she, was investing into it, and really just trying to, get those students those books because it's needed. That Black literacy, seeing representation within those schools. It's you in predominantly Black schools, and you're not even seeing characters that look like you. So what she did was super important. Shout out to my baby.
Yeah, that's great to encourage literacy in the future generation of storytellers.
Word,
and
sure.
not even reading just has a lot of benefits in comprehension and intellectual and emotional intelligence.
Right.
And it's very important. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So this project, in saying Act 1, what does that entail, and does it mean that there's further parts of it, or how does that work?
Yeah, man, this we just getting started with this. Probably for the next year and a half, all you're gonna be seeing is This Is How We Feel content that we're gonna, cause it's needed to be said. Like the stuff that I'm talking about, I feel like I need to say it, and I need to make it an enjoyable experience as well. But yeah, Act 2 coming, and Act 3 is coming after that. So it's a 3-act series, and we got more just cool stuff coming with it. Like just really trying to bring this to the world. You know what I mean? Really trying to go as far as we can with it. And it's my first time really like investing a lot into a project and really just focusing on one sole project and not releasing anything else unrelated to this. So you know what I mean? So it's really a journey that we're going on.
And are there any producers or people that helped you out with the project, collaborators that you'd like to mention or that helped with producing the project?
Yeah, man. Shout out Sal Dolly. He produced 4 joints on there. Shout out High Tech, the legend High Tech. I was blessed, to have co-production from him on trap music. So that's dope. ZG, long-time brother, collaborator on a bunch of things. We got a lot of stuff coming. Consistent down in San Antonio. He's actually the only non-Cincinnati producer on there. And then shout out to Master Matt. We got some stuff coming with Act 2 and Act 3 that I think people going to be excited about. So, yeah, man, it's getting there. Shout out to Courtney, too. Shout out to Apollo Rome, Courtney Apollo Rome. He produced a bunch of stuff that's coming soon, too.
So where can people find your projects, your music, your social media?
Yeah.
And also, you can say in a second about what you have coming up here in the next month or so. Yeah,
for sure. Find it everywhere you listen to music. Just type in KHARI, This Is How We Feel. It'll pop up on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal. Run up them streams on Tidal, though. I need that. Run up them streams on Tidal. They play a lot. Yeah, man. So it's everywhere. You can find me on social media, Twitter, Instagram. That's really all I mess with, really. Khari BTB, KHARI BTB. And, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, but you had an announcement that was just announced here in the last week or so. I thought you wanted to plug it.
Oh, yeah, the Roots video. Mm-hmm. The Roots video is coming next week. We're going to see when it's going to be. But it's in the editing stage, directed by Kevin Garner, shot by Kevin Garner, edited by Kevin Garner, and we gonna get to it. So it's lit.
What about the other news that we had been talking about? Is that up for the public? At the Lateral?
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, that's up for the public. Yeah, we can plug that. I ain't announced it, but yeah, we can plug that. Yeah, just locked in a residency at the Lateral. It's a bar in Norwood, right on Montgomery Avenue. Shout out to the Lateral for having us. It's gonna be BTB Records. So I'm with my team, and every 4th Saturday of the month we're gonna be turning up. Concert day party. That's what we're calling it. Obviously, we want to have a safe, fun time, social distancing, masks, all that. But we're gonna turn up, man. It's gonna be fun. $10 tickets, $20 at the door. You get a free drink with your ticket, and yeah, man, pop-up shop beforehand. So we got some merch gonna be selling some merch and things like that. But
Yeah,
I'm
that's
excited.
exciting. And then also, I saw on your Instagram that you're selling a package bundle with the first act.
Yeah.
It comes with a shirt, I believe.
Yeah, it comes with a shirt, comes with a digital lyric booklet, so you get all the lyrics to all the songs.
You didn't bring me a lyric book? Man, this would have made this interview about 20 times easier if I had a lyric
excuse
book.
me, we should do a visual lyric book, right?
Sure.
Like kind of like an audio book or
that'd be
something
fire.
like that, but with visuals.
That'll be fire.
Yeah,
That'll be fire.
that'll be great. But
Yeah, it comes
so
with all that. Yeah.
yeah, so go check that out.
I thought I gave it to you though, didn't I?
No, I haven't. I need to order. I haven't put my order in yet, so I do need to get the lyric book.
I can send
Because
it to you when
there's
we done.
so many bars that are just easy
Yeah.
to miss. Because I'll be stuck thinking about a bar 30 seconds
Yeah.
ago, and then there's a whole array
Yeah.
of new bars coming at me.
Yeah, and that's why I
and-
made it because I knew people wanted.
Let me also interrupt real quick,
For
too,
sure.
just for everybody to know that these flies are not special effects. We are in the middle of nowhere
They won't let us be great.
in Kansas. You know, we're in Kansas, and we've got a bunch of chickens and goats. And when we're under construction here at the Stonelick Studio, and we let the doors open, get some
Word.
fresh air, some oxygen, and the flies make a home.
Yeah,
man.
so I
It's
think
all
that's
good.
about gonna conclude our interview.
Great.
You know, I want to give a big shout out to Khari for coming, and then
And the Oz.
Stonelick Studio Production, and Tony over here doing the live event production. So
Absolutely.
we're super excited about it,
Yeah, man.
and we're looking forward to the next project.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate y'all. We got to do it again. You already
Great.
know.
Yep.
And I would like to ask everybody to go down in the description, check out everyone's links, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It really means a lot to us. At least on my channel, I'm right around 1,000 subscribers, so help me make it to 1,000. Thank you very much. And yeah, great.
All right, we'll catch you later.
Exactly. And we'll also probably cut out, 90% of the shit that I said. That I'll just we'll cut up however you want to cut it up.
For sure.
So it's like this is kind of like the after show, right?
Right.
So it's like we can kind of talk about what. Like I don't have my camera on me anymore,
Right.
but I mean, what do you got? How do you guys think that it went?
Fire.
I think it went great. Honestly,
Man, we got into it. We got into it.
We got into it with some.
We got into it. This shit got deep.
I got I did my research, and cause, I mean, there's just a lot that could have been missed, and a lot that, I think people really need to look into it. Once they start looking into it
Right.
and really seeing how strong the themes and the storytelling, the wordplay, I mean, the production is always there, and the whole concept design, is just strong.
Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, man. You definitely touched on everything that I was trying to put into it because I really wanted it to be a discovery though. Like I didn't want to tell people this is what this means, this is what that. Like you would get the gist of why I wanted the mass like incorporated, but I didn't want to just outright tell people like, yo, this is.
You got to go send them finding.
Yeah,
One
man.
thing we were talking about earlier as a director or a storyteller is that you don't want to just show them where the treasure's at. You want to make a good treasure map and give them the insight and encouragement and the resources necessary to find the story for themselves.
Exactly, bro. Because that's how we learn. That's how things stick with us. You know what I mean? Like you can tell people everything. You can give them all the information in the world and it go right over their head because you just told them everything instead of them actually. That's learning. You know what I mean? That's like you have to discover. You have to figure it out on your own and make it make sense to you. Up to your interpretation. Like certain things that you said was like I didn't even really have that intention. But I obviously had that subconscious intention to portray that, but you picked up on it, you know what I mean? And that's the beauty of making art, bro. Like, we'll write something, we'll shoot something that's like, we had no intention of that being like shown, but the audience picks up on
It ends up happening because
It's magic.
when you're
That's why I always
so
say it's
in
magic.
tune with the story and the entire concept, things start just happening. You might not even make a conscious decision, but it happens because you're so in tune with the whole situation.
Right. That's magic, bro. Art is magic. For sure.
Yeah, I mean it's just pretty genius, honestly. The whole like trapped music as like the continuation of the art of ignorance.
Yeah, and see, I didn't even see that.
Oh yeah, because I mean
I didn't even have that
it's
intention.
I actually wrote this in my notes. Is that your music is almost like a mom that is trying to make her kids eat healthy, but like disguises it in unhealthy foods. Like she's throwing vegetables into the sloppy joes and stuff. Because that's how my mom used to be. Even sloppy joes and stuff, she was like putting carrots and stuff in there. And I feel like that's how the music is that the music is portrayed as this like trap music at times. I mean, there's obviously slower songs and more reflective songs, but it's always disguising like something super strong.
Yeah, that's I love doing that. Like I love messing with, you know, that duality, like we said. It always goes back to that duality. I always love messing with that and just playing off of that. And cuz I don't like music that is just deep for no reason. You know what I mean? Or it's like just deep and I can't even like bump it or enjoy it. So like personally, when I go into writing music, I'm like, okay, how can I still touch on something but still make it like, how can I make this a banger? How can I make this like you could play it in a club? You know what I mean? You could play it in your whip and it bang. Or how can I make this like if you feeling in a romantic mood, you know what I mean, but still make it to where it's like touching on something different.
Because it's, you know, being an artist, there's a fine line, I'm sure you know, between something that's fire and something that's corny.
Exactly.
You know, and just the way you might manipulate your rhythm or just finding a different puzzle piece that fits there can make things sound a lot more authentic and, you know, just not so forced.
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of things I come up with is just sometimes like honestly like 50% of my stuff is random, bro. Like just different flows and cadences I come up with. I just be in the house like just clowning like with Roots. I remember writing Roots and I was like I just started dancing. I started hitting the money dance. I started hitting like the Bobby Schmurder.
Got
and
me
I was
feeling
like
groovy.
Yeah, and I was just like groovy and I'm like
Groovy.
I'm putting that in there. Like,
And it's a good part to it, you know.
Yeah,
it's,
so I just like having fun too at the same time, man. You gotta have that balance.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and have TP over here cut it. I'm about to go to the bathroom, so you guys don't really need to know that. But
So I mean, what are you calling this series? I mean, you gotta kind of intro to that. Well, P and then we'll.
all right, well, we can make an intro and outro.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the freestyle and stuff. I just want to.
Big bet.
Because I'll probably put out, you know, the whole thing as like a podcast, you know, but then we
Fire.
can cut it down to, you know, more of a 6 to 10 minute type thing.
Yeah,
But even, I'll probably put the whole thing as a podcast.
that'd be fire.
Because I mean, we already have the podcast put together. You know, I can add a little background and we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fire.
The only problem is each of the shades of green are going to be different, but
Yeah, you know, I'll make it work.
it's okay.
Yeah.
This is a test. You know,
Yeah.
we're under construction, and I got DM'd by this. So I mean, get on the mic.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I've been under construction here at Stonelick Studios for going on the last 2 years. More seriously, in the last year since I've become independent of College Beats on my own. So I'm at the point where I'm attempting to build a production studio.
Fire,
and a
bro.
virtual one at that, and a contactless one at that. And to be able to provide a totally motorized, smart, I'd even consider it timeless East. I'm a big, you know, X fan, Cam, you know, Chris, everybody over there.
Yeah,
you know, that Chris inspired me on incorporating sand, that behind you is an artificial wall that a quarter of it is made out of sand.
Word.
So,
That's
and that,
crazy.
you know, shout out to Chris.
Yeah.
Are you have you been to Timeless?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
course.
who's your engineer over at
Well,
Timeless?
I haven't like recorded there, but I've been in sessions with a couple people.
It's
and
the
just-
coolest studio in the
just vibed
Cincinnati.
out. Yeah, just vibed out in there. with Chris. I did the donuts and alcohol interview. When was that? Last year sometime. And I got the link with a bunch of them. In
Yeah,
the
so
studio
I
and
was
stuff.
producing Donuts and Alcohol for a total of 3 to 4 seasons.
Crazy, yeah.
Running through it, but I just got to a point where I wasn't included and I wasn't necessarily needed, and that they couldn't find a way to include me. So I just decided to become independent, and I would consider myself to be a consultant. That I met the owner of College Beats in a marketing class while I was going to UC.
Fire.
And so I didn't really choose this career. This career chose me. That I considered myself a consultant to the industry, but now I've gotten lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
And my dad used to help run sound at Bogart's. My uncle ran sound at Bogart's.
Fire.
My uncle's band, sponsored by Jägermeister.
That's
I
dope.
belong to a German club that I've spoken to you about, that we have like 16 different venues all over the country and Europe and Argentina. And so,
Crazy.
great. All right, so the next thing that we need to do, now that Trace is back, we are looking at whether or not we want to do a freestyle
Let's go.
or the intro and outro for this. So let's do the intro first. So what are you even calling this series? Just
It's just, I mean,
your podcast, Trace's podcast.
It's not really a podcast per se. It's just, so we did an interview about the Cincinnati album last year, and this was kind of just a continuation on. I mean, now that I think about it, it'd honestly be dope to have a podcast. Like, it's pretty easy, honestly, because I mean, I like doing my research on things too, and like just really looking into stuff. And
But with you, like you have like such this like feel and like creative like approach to things. It can be something, no label. You know what I mean? It can be this. No label podcast. You feel me? Like it could be like
it's
this,
just off the cuff.
You know what I mean? It's this.
Maybe
Right.
I need to come up with something, and you guys are just kind of featuring. Like someone's the host, someone's the.
Right.
He
Or
was talking
vice
about
versa.
trying to get like an improv type of show.
Yeah, an
going on,
improv
like SNL,
podcast.
like a
Bro.
Cincinnati
Yeah,
SNL.
and call me Lauren Michaels.
That's fire.
Because he's
That'd
talking
be
about
crazy.
trying to build sets and
Yeah,
like
word.
build sets, and I mean a lot of stuff is possible with the green screen.
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely, bro.
So as for the name and stuff, I don't really know. What
Okay,
to call
so I mean, one name that I have that I want to kind of be the more moderate, let's say, Saturday Night Live would be Everyone's Canceled. Right, where like it would be 4 people each time or 2 people each time, and by the end of the show, someone's canceled. It's kind of like Survivor or what is it called? Black Mirror, how every episode is different.
Yeah. Black Mirror's
right?
dope.
Or the other concept that I have is somewhat like a holodeck from Star Trek. Like you were talking about being a big Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
right? Are you a Star Trek fan?
No,
What about X-Men?
I love X-Men.
Okay, what about the training facility in X-Men?
Fire.
So that's exactly what we'll be doing.
Fire.
What I want to create is a 3D virtual reality rendering of the dimensions of this place. So then we could put on VR goggles and then interact with the space, and it'll actually be the actual space. So think about kind of like The Sims, but in real life.
Right.
You know?
Pretty wild.
That's wild. Yeah. And with this space, bro, this is definitely like the potential is there, bro.
Yeah, total
Yeah,
potential.
well, I mean, the other room, you didn't even get to see hit your dad's studio or office in the other
So it's
room.
another space back.
It's like it would be the perfect like recording studio, like to spit some bars in
Booth.
there.
Yeah.
It'd be a good space for that.
Yeah, and we're gonna sand up that window as well for sound. That we are out on a 55-mile-per-hour road, and just to also let everybody know, this is a by appointment only organization. That what we're really trying to do is develop relationships with people. That we don't want to make money unless you're making money, and that we want to make sure that everybody eats.
Right.
That this isn't about nickel and diming. Sure, we got to pay taxes, we got to pay the heat bill, we got to pay the electric. Those need to be paid. But at the end of the day, we own the dirt. So this is about becoming the McDonald's of studios.
I hear you, bro. I I hear that.
So what you think we even need I guess we need a little outro. I guess.
So that's what we first need an intro. I mean, do you want me to intro it?
Yeah, I can intro it.
Okay, well, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to intro it, and then you'll take from what I said, and then you'll intro it in your own words, basically.
All right.
Or what I would say is maybe you try it. If you've got it in you, I'm going to, like, let you take it from here.
I can try and intro.
All right, I'm going to let you
I can
pure
try it.
go for it. Okay,
right.
so in 3,
You gotta
2.
flip it
All right, yeah.
on me.
See, that's the
Let's
show,
see.
just us, like,
Where's the
bullshitting all
camera?
day.
What's it look like with me looking at the camera? Is it weird?
Look,
I can't look at it at the same time.
well, and you also have the reflection
Oh,
off
yeah,
the lights, too.
That's not that good. Where should I look at?
Here?
Here?
I would say in the middle, between the camera and the TV.
Over here? I can
Yeah.
be back here.
No.
This is getting.
What are you doing? No, the light. You want to get under the light right under you. You want to get the. And dude, you got to get close to the mic because you got to be talking.
Oh, I am
You
talking.
understand?
It's too trippy, bro. I'm tripping out. Should I look
Okay.
at
Well,
Khari? No,
well,
that's-
welcome to the Fantasy Factory. For those of you that don't know,
Right here.
we are
Now
not.
Look at the camera. Right here.
We are
How's
not
this
in
look?
Kansas anymore. We are not in Stonelick anymore. We are in your own virtual reality. Welcome.
Welcome. All right, I want to welcome you guys. What? I don't even know what I'm
hit
going
him
to
with one of
introduce,
these.
bro. All right, we're here with
But
Khari.
you don't want to hit him. You don't want to hit him with that one.
What?
Jado went.
He did some
Jado
Star
went
Trek
crazy,
shit. He did some
throwing
Star Trek shit
signs
at me.
and
He did
stuff.
some
All
Star
right,
Trek.
all right, all right. Let's move on. All right, intro. And wait, where's the clacker too? We can use the clacker.
Yeah, maybe that's just the intro. You know, we're here with Khari and Trace. We're going to talk about the "This Is How We Feel" Act 1 Trapped, and talk a little bit about the themes and messages that are presented in this album. But something was flicking. That thing's flicking. No, you got to fix that thing. The light is flickering. Yeah, it was complete. Probably can't even use that one. I mean, we'll probably just get into it. Like a minute, like 30 seconds. It just started.
So that's what I'm saying. We're gonna redo. Okay, so
You gotta get way closer.
it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't. It's just more about the sound because I'm trying to hit this. Okay, so intro for the IRL podcast.
All right, we're sitting here with Khari. We're about to jump into his new album, This Is How We Feel, Act 1 Trapped. Going to talk a little about the themes and messages that are present and discuss his process making music. So let's hop right into it. This is Trace. You can catch me on Instagram, Trace937. Check out my website, tracewalkerfilms.com. And we're about to get it popping.
Great. And then intro who you are.
Am I looking in this camera right here?
Yeah, right there looks perfect. Just
Right
look
there?
at the camera.
All right.
Yep.
Yo, it's Khari here with Trace, and we about to get into This Is How We Feel, man. You can find me on Instagram at KhariBTB and Twitter at KhariBTB. Let's get it.
All right, dope. I said we did the freestyle then, huh? So let's move the lights and just get a little setup over here.
Bet.